Hello and welcome back to my channel. I thought that it would be fun to do my very first tag. This is going to be the part-time YouTuber tag, and I honestly didn't really know what a YouTube tag was until I'd seen this one floating around, and I was like, oh hey, that seems fun. I'm not much of a trend jumper, but now and then I catch on. Usually I'm way late, but that's okay, I don't really care. The person whose video that I first saw using this tag was Heather Austin, and I will link her down below, and I'm pretty sure that the original creator was a woman named Monica Adriana, so I will also link her down below so that you can see where this all started. And the idea of this part-time YouTuber tag is just to get to know the creators, what we're doing, why we're here, if we like it, if we don't like it, time management, that sort of thing. Kind of a get to know me situation within the realm of YouTube and why we're putting our energies into this. So I thought that it would be fun, considering that I've been doing this for a few months now, and I've got my tea, and I've got the list of questions, and I think that we should just get started. If you haven't been here before, thank you for clicking on my video. My name is Rachel, I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom, and I really don't know much about makeup, but I love to play with colorful eyeshadow. In case you can't tell, this is the Garnet palette from BH Cosmetics, and I did do a tutorial for this look. I will also link that down below if you would like to watch that. And as far as the hair goes, this isn't my normal style. My husband is out of town and he really dislikes this hairstyle, so I think it's kind of funky and fun, and it's very infrequent that I want to do something goofy like this, but if I do, then I do it when he's out of town so he doesn't have to look at it. Oh my. Anyway, let's get started with these questions. I'm reading this from a paper because my phone is recording and the questions are on my phone. But question number 1 is, what is your main gig? Do you work full-time? Are you a student or a parent? Spill the beans. I am a mother of 2. I have a 9-year-old daughter and I have a new baby. She's a couple of months old now. They're both just really wonderful girls and I love them to bits. I am, as I mentioned before, a homeschooling mom. My 9-year-old is in 4th grade and I've been homeschooling her for every year except one. We moved across the country a couple years ago, and when we first got to this new state, we enrolled her in a school just so that she could meet some people because we had kind of a secluded life at that time. So aside from that, I've homeschooled her every year, and we really enjoy homeschooling. It's a great fit for our family, it's a great fit for our schedules and our fundamental belief system, and it's a wonderful way to customize education to your child's specific personality or interests or needs or anything like that. So that's a lot of my time is homeschooling. As a stay-at-home mom, I have housework and whatnot to do, and I have a small business on the side. And up until this year, I actually helped my husband run a machine shop full-time, so that took up most of my time. But then I got pregnant and we phased all of that out because doing that with a newborn was not feasible. So I do not work outside of the home, I just try to keep myself busy within the home. And as far as being a student, I'm not actively enrolled in any classes. I do love education, I love learning, I love broadening my horizons and learning new things. Currently I'm not studying anything specific, but I take music lessons and I have a friend in another country and we go back and forth in alternating languages so that we can both improve our language skills. I have multiple hobbies which I have trouble keeping up with because they are numerous. So I'm not a student technically, but I am a student in many ways. Question number 2 says, what made you want to start YouTube? Now that's an easy one. I first started doing eyeshadow about 11 months ago in February of 2021, and I really don't remember what got me started in it. I remember years ago as like a kid, and then several years later as a teenager, I just sort of dabbled a bit in eyeshadow and never did anything more with it. My mom was not into cosmetics in any way. In fact, the eyeshadow that I played with in those very early years was the makeup that she had on her wedding day in 1980, and it was blue, and she had brown lipstick. And so we never grew up with any kind of beauty influence in our lives. But then as an adult, I feel like I really figured out who I was into my 30s, and I discovered that I really love color. And I think just being a stay-at-home mom, I was feeling a little bit weary and feeling like I wasn't able to go out of the house a lot and express myself in creative ways with other people. And so I don't know, I thought, well, I love color and I, played with eyeshadow a little as a kid, so maybe I'll get an eyeshadow palette and just mess around. And that really just opened up a whole world to me where I very quickly got quite into eyeshadow. I still don't know much about any other makeup really. I don't really like lipstick. I do like lip gloss. as long as it's not sticky. And I don't use much in the way of face products except concealer, because I discovered that putting on darker eyeshadows, especially in the beginning when my skills were not there yet, I often would look bruised or ill, and I discovered that putting concealer under the eyes would brighten up that area and just kind of give you more of a clean canvas. So I've learned things as I've gone along, and I have added in a couple of basic cosmetic elements such as concealer under the eyes just to make the eyeshadow pop. But for me, it is all about the eyes. And the reason that I started YouTube was twofold, actually. The main reason was that when I was getting into eyeshadow, I was looking for some content which I couldn't find. A prime example would be I decided I wanted to try green eyeshadow, and I found the BH Cosmetics avocado toast palette, and it had gotten such great reviews, and then Glamlight released their Dirty Martini palette, and that also got great reviews, and I didn't know which one to buy. And I was trying to find a video or a blog post or I don't know, a social media comment somewhere comparing those two palettes, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So over time I ended up buying both of them, and I actually just posted a video on my own YouTube channel comparing those two palettes. So essentially I created the content that I couldn't find. Now, I haven't looked in quite a while for that comparison because I knew that I was going to do it myself. So maybe somewhere out there someone else has done that comparison, but at the time that I was looking, I couldn't find it. So part of the reason for starting a YouTube channel was because I wanted to fill a little bit of a gap that I saw. And the other reason was directly linked to why I have an Instagram account for eyeshadow, which was just as an outlet for creative expression. When I started doing eyeshadow looks, I would share them on Facebook. And that was just, it was just fun because I didn't want to lose track of my own progress. I love progress pictures where you see where you started and then, you know, a year later, 2 years later, where you've ended up. I love that. I find that really inspiring, and I wanted that kind of record for myself, but I didn't want to take up my phone with thousands of pictures. And I didn't want to inundate my Facebook friends with tons of, you know, daily eyeshadow pictures, because most of them didn't care. So I thought, well, hey, why don't I start an Instagram account where that would be my record of all of my looks. I can go back and see what I did, what I liked, what I didn't like, what worked for me, what didn't work for me, how far I've come and what I've learned. It would just be a great way to keep track of my own eyeshadow journey without taking up all of the storage space on my cell phone. And then I thought, well, hey, you know, these reels are kind of fun, and I'll bet I could do the tutorials that I watch. Like, I found myself watching a lot of tutorials as I was learning how to do eyeshadow, and I thought, I could do this. I can do that. Why can't I do that? You know, I can create content like that. So that's why I started the YouTube channel. So question number 3 says, what is your channel about? Do you stick to one niche or do you cover a few? So my channel is called, as you know, Shimmers and Silver, and that's mainly shimmers on the eyeshadow, silver in my hair. Most of it is eyeshadow. It's tutorials, comparisons, swatches, possible dupes, collections, declutterings, hauls, whatever. It's mainly eyeshadow. But I also wanted to embrace the fact that my hair is turning silver. And I mean, I'm 34 years old. I'm not by any stretch an older woman, but my hair has been turning silver since about 25, and I actually really like it. I think it's pretty. I like the way that it sort of stripes through my hairstyle, and it adds interest, and it adds just a little pop of something different. I don't personally have any interest in or the patience to dye my hair, and so I wanted to embrace the going silver journey. And I know that that's, I mean, currently I think it's kind of a trend right now. Everyone's going gray gracefully, and that's awesome. I don't know if it's going to stay a trend or if something else will replace it, but that's kind of my mindset. I'm grateful for my gray and silver hairs because they show that I have lived and that I am living. I know so many people who have died young and they never got to see gray hairs. Big picture, I think that they would have preferred to live longer and experience their hair getting old and their face getting wrinkly than they would have to pass away at an early age. And I don't know, it's just, people view growing older as something bad, and it's not. It can be a really beautiful thing. So I'm sorry, I'm rambling. The idea of the silver is just to embrace that process as I get older and settle into myself as who I am and what I'm interested in, and I think that aging gracefully is part of that. I would like to use this channel and also my Instagram account in general as a bit of a platform for that sort of mindset, you know, just being grateful for the time that passes and trying to use that time well. Currently on YouTube, I don't have any content relating to hair, and over on Instagram, I have only a couple of posts, and they're, you know, maybe the shampoo that I like or a quote about aging gracefully or whatever. But I think I would like to change that as I move forward and try to focus my channel a little bit more in that direction. Question number 4 is, did you always know YouTube would be a side gig, or did or do you ever want to be a full-time YouTuber? For me at this time, I would say I'm definitely just a, you know, hobby part-time YouTuber. I have no plans of going full-time. I have no expectation of going full-time. I am not some beauty guru who's gonna get 1 million followers. I'm just little old me doing my thing, playing with colors on my eyelids, and I'm pretty content with that where it is. I mean, it would be pretty cool if whatever I'm doing garners enough interest that it can grow. I mean, being able to monetize YouTube sounds pretty neat, because not only is that validating, but it's also nice to bring in some extra money, and I think it could be really fun. And truth be told, I do put a decent amount of time into my videos currently, but at this point where I am with my family life and my personal life, I'm not really looking to expand that much further. Question number 5 says, what is your schedule like? When do you film? When do you edit? Etc. That's also an easy one to answer. I am currently nursing my baby, and she usually wakes up between 4 and 5 in the morning to nurse. So when she wakes up, as long as I've gotten a decent amount of sleep, I'll sort of check my phone. I'm like, okay, if it's after 4 in the morning, then I just stay awake. So I'll nurse her and I'll put her back to sleep, and then I'll come downstairs and film. And it takes, I don't know, maybe an hour, usually less, to like set up my little area, because I break it down each day. First off, she's crawling and standing up on things, so I don't need stuff everywhere. But also I don't want clutter and untidiness around. My house has unfolded laundry and whatnot. It's got plenty of untidiness. I don't need to add makeup palettes to the mix. So it takes me maybe an hour altogether to set up my area, get the light set up, get my camera set up, figure out what I'm gonna do, pull out the palette that I need, and sit down and start filming, and then close it all out, do my intro, outro, etc. Maybe an hour. So it's actually perfect, because it forces me to get out of bed, because I'm really excited to do another eyeshadow look, and so I have to get out of bed if I want to do that, because it's really difficult. There are a couple of videos on my channel that I was filming during the day when either my daughter was doing her schoolwork or my baby was crawling around and shaking the tripod and distracting me, and those videos are not impossible, but they're a lot more difficult to do, and there are a lot more distractions for the viewer and for the creator. And I just prefer to be able to sit and have a small chunk of time to dedicate to filming. Also, I want to be done my eyeshadow and, you know, dressed and ready for the day before my children need me. I want to have a little bit of time in the morning, just carve it out for myself, some quiet time in my quiet house when the whole family's sleeping, just a little bit of time for me, because moms are just needed by everybody all the time. You know, it's hard to get some time to sit and read a book, or to drink some tea, or to watch a show you want to watch. It seems like everybody always needs us for something, or the house needs us, or the dog needs us, or whatever. So I really appreciate and value this chunk of time that I have in the morning for filming. If I'm done my eyeshadow look early enough and still nobody's awake, then I will often do some editing in the morning as well. I don't want my daughter to see me on my phone all day long, and so I try to do editing when it's just me alone, whether I'm waiting in the car to pick somebody up, or I'm upstairs and I just laid my baby down and she's stirring a bit, so I kind of hang out in the room for a while until she sleeps. I'll do editing then. Again, early morning, if I've created a look and I have some time still before people wake up, I'll do editing then. So I definitely spread the editing throughout the day. I don't do it all in one chunk. It probably takes a little bit longer, because if I do it for 10 minutes and then I stop and I come back to it 4 hours later, I have to, you know, back up a bit in the video to remind myself where I was and what that transition was and where I want to place the music or whatever. And so it certainly takes longer to spread out the editing, but I would prefer to do that than to sit on my phone for an hour editing while my daughter needs me for something. That's that's just my schedule right now. I will say that with my husband out of town, I have been taking advantage of the free evenings that I have. I have a plan to do 2 videos a day until he gets back. So like for example, this morning I filmed the garnet tutorial, so I'm gonna edit that and post that, and then a few days later I'll post this video. That actually takes me into question number 6, which is, how do you keep your YouTube channel organized? Do you plan videos ahead or just film what you feel like? Most of the time it's a mix of both. As far as keeping it organized, I have some playlists on my channel itself, you know, the BH Cosmetics Birthstone series playlist, the ColourPop tutorials playlist, Udensai playlist. I have playlists of tutorials for each brand, and then I have a different playlist of rankings and declutters and collections, and those are just some playlists that I've created for my viewers if you guys ever want to just binge watch. I binge watch Angelica Nyquist. I kind of do. Anyway, I doubt anybody binge watches my stuff, but if you wanted to, there are playlists for that. And then as far as scheduling or planning my videos ahead of time versus filming what I feel like, it is definitely a little of both. Currently with my husband out of town, I have planned out the videos for this week, and also as we near the end of January, I did set a couple of specific goals which I wanted to do in January. For example, the garnet look was the BH Cosmetics January palette. So I thought, hey, I've already done 1 tutorial for every birthstone palette that I have. How about now I just revisit each palette in its corresponding month? So I wanted to get garnet filmed and uploaded in January. I also wanted to do a holiday haul video in January because, you know, I got a slew of palettes over the holidays between Black Friday and Christmas and end of year sales. And I just thought January would be a good time to go through them all and say, hey, this is what is coming up, you know? So there were a couple of specific videos that I had in mind for the month of January, and I would say that overall that's consistent. You know, I might have a few specific ideas for a certain time frame. Aside from that, yeah, I do film kind of whatever I want. I often will look at my YouTube lineup and say, okay, I did 3 green eyeshadow looks in a row. I need to do something other than green. And then I will specifically plan to not do green. You know, I might throw in a blue look, I might throw in a red look, I might throw in a gold and purple look, whatever, just not green. Often I will choose my outfit the night before so that I can go to sleep with a plan, like, okay, if I sleep well and my daughter wakes me up early and I'm able to stay up, then I have a plan. Because I don't want to waste that precious time in the morning if I have, you know, an hour of time before the baby starts stirring and waking up again, like standing in front of my eyeshadow palettes pondering what I'm going to do. So I like to choose my outfit the night before, and then I can plan what I'm going to do the following day, and that saves time. And I also like to space out my tutorials as far as brand, because now I have 4 or 5 different brands. I don't want to do, you know, 5 different ColourPop videos one after another, because I also have Udensai I want to play with, and I want to play with the, you know, the Glam Light palette over here, and I want to play with the BH Cosmetics palette, and there's just so much fun, and there's just, you know, so much to do. And I don't have enough eyes or enough time to do all the eyeshadow looks that I want to do. Question number 7 says, how do you feel about sponsored videos on YouTube? Have or would you ever do one on your channel? I would say I have no problem with sponsored content. Within reason. First off, I don't want anything shoved down my throat. I don't like it when I click a video to watch a tutorial and I get all this sponsored content about what the creator is eating because they have a subscription to somewhere, and where their jewelry came from, and where their shirt came from, and where their decorative lamp came from. Like, I honestly don't care. I get it, and I don't mind a little bit here and there, like as a viewer, but if I'm clicking on a YouTube video, I want to see the content that that video is supposed to be giving me. I don't really want a ton of advertisements. So I would say that as a consumer, sponsored content doesn't bother me as long as it's, you know, reasonable. If I am watching Angelica Nyquist do a whole bunch of tutorials from Udensai, and the video is sponsored by Udensai, I get that. Like, that's the brand, they're sponsoring her content, she's working with them. That's totally fine by me. That makes a lot of sense, and it is also relevant to what I was looking for. I don't have a problem with that at all. And then the other caveat I would say, as both a consumer and a creator, would be that sponsored content doesn't bother me too much as long as it's genuine. If somebody, you'd see them wearing, I don't know, a necklace from a specific company, and they're doing a sponsored video and they're raving about this necklace, but then you never see them ever wear anything from that company ever again, it just, like, well, you obviously just did it for the money, and that's disingenuous because you're sharing on your platform how great this brand is, and then you're not really using it yourself. So that sort of thing bothers me, and I honestly have not seen much of that. I live probably a rather sheltered life, and I don't branch too much into YouTube aside from the few creators that I follow. I try to keep my exposure within reasonable limits, and so I don't see a lot of that, but I know for sure that that would irritate me if I saw somebody who was doing sponsored content just for the sponsorship and they were being disingenuous. As far as myself and whether or not I would ever do sponsored content, I have not done sponsored content before. I think that's not a surprise to anyone. And as long as it hit those parameters and I felt that my audience reach was big enough to actually matter, you know, if I really, really loved the product and I could honestly and with integrity recommend something, then sure, I don't have a problem with doing sponsored content, but it would have to meet the qualifications already expressed. The final question is number 8. What do you think is the biggest challenge of doing YouTube part-time? I would say, for me, absolutely, it's time management. I am very into eyeshadow, and it is not difficult for me to get excited about putting on eyeshadow, to discipline myself to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do it. Like, that's not a struggle for me. I might be working on 4 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep, and I feel great because I had that little bit of time to myself. I was able to feed my own creativity and my own interests and express myself and play with colors, and I just, you know, all of that fuels me, and I love that. So for me, it's not a problem to think of content or to think of looks or to take the time to sit down and make a tutorial and work throughout the day to edit it and put it up online. Not a big deal. It is easy for me to spend too much time doing that. Because I'm so excited about it, I might want to make more than one tutorial. Or like right now with my husband being away, I'm easily doing 2 videos a day. But that's not sustainable for a couple of reasons. It's not sustainable because when my husband's home, I need to prioritize time with him. It's important that our evenings are spent together, connecting as husband and wife. It's also not sustainable because I do think that if I did 2 videos a day for any length of time, I would get pretty burned out, and I think honestly that I would lose my enthusiasm for doing eyeshadow if I was putting it on every single day, putting on multiple looks every day, talking at a little rectangle all day long. I think that would be a bit much. So even though I have that excitement, I would rather keep that excitement simmering over here than to dive fully into it and eventually get burned out. It's also not sustainable because I'm a mother and I'm a homeschooling mother. I have children who are watching me all the time. I have daughters whom I have to raise. I have to set a good example. I have to teach time management and self-discipline, and I don't currently see a problem with me making eyeshadow tutorial videos, but I do see a problem with spending hours and hours on my phone, editing those videos, taking glamour photos of myself for social media, basically prioritizing that over other things that truly are more important, like keeping up with my house, making dinner, spending quality time with my children, helping my daughter with her school, playing with my baby. Those things are all more important than eyeshadow and more important than YouTube. So for me, the interest is there to create lots of content, and I can easily do about 3 videos a week and be content with how I'm managing my time to maintain that. But it's easy for me to go a little overboard and spend too much time on my phone doing eyeshadow related things. And so I have to just check myself with that. And now and then I just have to say, you know what, I'm gonna go a couple of days and not do anything. Or these extra videos that I'm creating this week, I'm gonna schedule them to be posted, and I'll probably just take a couple days off. To be completely honest, my husband prefers me without eyeshadow. And so in order to honor him and respect his opinion, like, he's never asked me to stop doing it. He's never said he doesn't like it, although he has a few times expressed that he wasn't a fan of a particular look that I did. But he's always been supportive of me, but he's also made it clear that he thinks I'm much more beautiful without eyeshadow. And I so appreciate that. So I have to find a balance between respecting his opinion and also being true to myself and my own creativity. I have to find a middle ground there. I usually will take 2 or 3 days off throughout the week where I just don't do any eyeshadow at all. And I think that that's an important balance for me to maintain as well. So those are the 8 questions as part of the part-time YouTuber tag. I'm pretty sure that when I'm going back and editing this footage, I'm gonna remember things that I wanted to say. I'm not always the most concise when it comes to expressing myself, but I really did enjoy doing this video. I think it's nice to just sit back and reflect on why you're doing something. Like, why have I chosen to put my life's energy and my time into this? And it's very helpful to honestly assess myself and figure out, is it worth my time? Am I providing value? Does it enhance the lives of other people and myself as well? And have I found a good balance, or am I going too far one direction or another? And you know, it's just really constructive. So I appreciate this part-time YouTuber tag. I appreciate Heather Austin for letting me know that it existed, and I appreciate Monica Adriana for inventing it, and I appreciate you for clicking on my video and giving me a small chunk of your time. I hope this was constructive or entertaining or helpful to you in some capacity, and until we see each other again, have a great day. Bye!